Welcome to another Epic Ethics story, part of the Daniels Fund Ethics Initiative Elementary School program. As you listen to the story, consider the 4 awesome questions, inspired by the Rotary 4-way test. Is it true? Is it fair? Will it build friendships and community? Will it be helpful to those involved? Stay with us after the story for some thought-provoking discussion questions.
And now, Rualdo's song, a Central American myth. Deep in the jungles that surround the Poás volcano, the sweetest sounds rise in concert above the canopy. The most beautiful melody comes from quite an inconspicuous bird, the Rualdo, and his song is revered by his fellow jungle creatures and nearby villagers that live on the tail tip of Turtle Island. One morning, the daughter of the shaman woke up to perform her usual daily chores of gathering herbs for the medicine her father would make throughout the day. As the girl made her way through the jungle, she was drawn towards a soft little chirp coming from a nearby bush. She didn't see the bird's parents. Throughout the day, the girl couldn't keep her mind off the bird's pleading calls. That night, she tossed and turned, often awakening to the cries of the bird. The next morning, she sprung from her bed and went to see if the little bird's parents had returned. She found the baby Rualdo, soaked by the morning dew, barely alive and not making a sound. She knew that if she did not help him, the bird would die. Tucking him carefully between her breasts, she rushed down home to find a warm place for the bird to dry out. For the weeks to come, her duties would be doubled. Not only did she need to ensure her father had all of the herbs needed for his healing ceremonies, but little Rualdo depended on her. Thanks to her gentle and patient care, Rualdo was quickly fluttering the hut. Soon thereafter, he was zooming around the daughter of the medicine man as she continued to gather herbs. One day, Rualdo began to sing. His song became her greatest joy. But one day, the beautiful jungle choir was broken by the roar of the nearby volcano. Only the oldest villagers had memory of this mighty rumble. When the earth began to shake, the villagers came out of their dwellings and saw the dreaded lava flowing like blood down the flanks of Poás volcano. "Have mercy!" the inhabitants cried in panic. Gifts and prayers were offered, but the unrest of the volcano only worsened. The shaman went to work. It was his job to communicate with the spirit of Poás and learn what was needed to calm the volcano. He went up the mountain with gifts, but a few hours after his ascent, an even more terrifying roar broke out across the land. All villagers feared the worst. On day 2, he climbed Poás again, but the earth still shook as if the thunder gods were trapped below the mountain. On the 3rd day, there was no sound. Not from the volcano, nor any of the jungle wildlife that normally chattered through the day. The villagers now feared this unexpected silence even more than the volcano's anger. The next morning, his daughter was awoken by the gentle touch of her father. "Father, you are back!" she exclaimed as she wrapped her arms around him. "My daughter, he has spoken," replied the shaman. Drawing her near to his heart, he said, "My daughter, Poas has asked for you." The daughter's face turned grave and thoughtful, like a bubbling spring in the forest. "Oh, Father," she said, "I will ascend immediately and offer our sweetest herbs and incense to Poas." "I am afraid he is not interested in our prayers nor our herbs," the shaman replied. "Then what, Father?" she asked as she looked for a deeper truth in his eyes. Turning away, the shaman presented his dilemma. "I have devoted my life to the well-being of this village. Never have I known of a sacrifice I was not willing to make." Turning once again towards his daughter, the troubled shaman delivered his confession. "But this, my child, is too much for me to bear." "Allow me to help, Father," she pleaded. "I am willing to go. What is it that Poas desires?" "Daughter, he has asked for the life of the most beautiful girl of this village," he raged. Mustering up a strength she hoped would bring honor to her father and grace for the village, she spoke. "My life is not my own. You, the great medicine man of our village, have shown me the higher path of sacrifice and devotion for others. I am willing and ready, Father. Tomorrow I will go." To her surprise, the shaman bit back with smallness. "I forbid you to go." The daughter had never known her father to defy a request from nature. Yet unsure of how to respond, she left his presence, followed by the quick fluttering Rualdo. With every herb that she gathered that afternoon, she felt a pressing responsibility to become the village medicine and appease Poas with her life. How can my father wish to disobey nature? What would my life be worth if our community was destroyed? The weight of her decision caused her to collapse beneath the bush where she had once found little Rualdo. As he sang a soothing song, she fell into a deep sleep. When she awoke, she whispered to her beloved bird, "I had a dream, Rualdo. In my dream there was a fire. From the flames there arose a sweet smell. I must go and offer myself to Poas." That night, the shaman and his daughter ate in silence. As they laid down to sleep, her father broke the silence and said, "My daughter, your strength is far greater than mine. You have honored me today with your willingness. But please, my daughter, I beg you, put that volcano's request out of your thoughts for good." Refusing to speak, the shaman's daughter went to sleep. In the middle of the night, she awoke. Again, the dream of fire. She knew she had to go. quiet as a tarantula, she made her way out of the hut and began the ascent to the mouth of Poas. Rualdo was right by her side. As they approached the summit, Poas began to shake. Rualdo ventured ahead and began singing a song more beautiful than any the shaman's daughter had ever heard before. Poas rumbled, groaned, hissed, and spit bright embers into the sky. Undeterred, Rualdo continued to sing as the daughter knelt in wonder at the display of forces. As the duel went on, smoke began to rise from the depths of Poas. The scorching heat of the volcano burned Rualdo's throat with every breath. But still, Rualdo sang. Poas's roar was full of hunger. Rualdo's song sought to feed it. Little by little, his song enchanted the volcano. The more the heat burned his throat, the softer became the song. But it never lost its magic. Poas then quieted, straining to hear the melody. As the girl arose and stepped towards the mouth of Poas, the bellowing rage ceased completely. Rualdo fell to the feet of his friend. She raised him up once again, close to her chest. The eerie silence on the volcano's peak was followed by a coolness. White, wet clouds pushed against the fiery veins trickling down the mountainside. Poas, so moved by the passion and beauty of Rualdo's song, began to weep. His fire tongues had singed Rualdo's feathers, and where once lava bubbled and threatened to burn down the village, a lagoon of lament flooded the crater. "Rualdo," she whispered ever so gently. But Rualdo's voice had been scorched by the smoke. Poas had agreed to exchange Rualdo's song for her life. Full of relief and concern, she began her descent back to the village. On her way, she began to sing. And with every note, lush green tender feathers were born from the smoke and ash of his plumage. And new green sprouting leaves grew over the mountain as far as the song could be heard. Waiting at the foot of the volcano was the shaman. He ran to his child and the bird that saved her with his song. "My child, it was right for you to disobey me," he professed as he embraced her. "Please forgive my weakness." "Father," the girl said, "how can one tend to a village if one does not first know how to care and protect for one's own home?" The end. Discussion questions. When have you had to go against a parent or teacher's suggestions because you believed in something they were not yet able to understand? Tell of a time where you saw someone older than you advise the unethical. Which of the 4 awesome questions did the shaman have to consider when forbidding his daughter to climb the volcano? When have you sacrificed something for a friend? When have you been afraid to do what is right?
This has been an Epic Ethics recording, generously sponsored by the Daniels Fund Ethics Initiative. We'd also like to thank Colorado Rotary District 5450 for your service above self and support of peaceful schools. For more information about the EPIC Ethics program, or to bring this program to your elementary school, contact us at www.epicethics.org.